Well, I decided to build another 5-string, and this is number 290. This is Daniella, and as you can see, she's got a low C string. She's a 5-string fiddle, and as usual, I use an Engelmann top for the spruce and do my carvings on the corner blocks, as I always like to do. Whitner fine tuner tailpiece, a really cool chin rest that I got from my supplier. That it looks kind of weird, but it's a lot lighter than my other Guarneri style ebony chin rests, and it also really hugs your jaw when you're playing, and it's very, very comfortable. And highly recommend getting. I'm not even sure what it's called. It's kind of a hybrid, but you could see them for sale online. And I love this chin rest. I think I'm going to go to this chin rest from now on with all my fiddles. And so the back, sides, and neck are Western big leaf curly maple. Got some shading, dark shading on them to kind of make the shape pop a little bit. And one piece back, and carvings, also leaf carvings that I do on the back. And a lot of people ask me where my finger is pointing, right here. What's that hole in the back of the fiddle? Let's see if I can show a close-up of it. It's right against the purfling there. It's hard to see in this. Here it is. Yeah. It's called a locator pin, and when it comes time to glue the back plate onto the rib assembly, I put a locator pin through here and another one at the end that's under the clamp of the chin rest. And what it does, it holds the back plate exactly where I want it while I'm gluing it and clamping it so it doesn't slide around on me. And because it's important to do, because the edges of the back plate have to line up pretty well, very exactly evenly with the rib assembly. And if the back plate slides around while you're trying to clamp it when it has the glue on it, it's the point of no return. It's just going to be a mess. So anyway, that's what that is. Some makers keep the pin in, the locator pin in, but I leave it sticking out a little bit when I'm gluing and clamping, and then I actually pull it out and I leave a hole there, because a lot of old violins develop a little crack where the locator pin is, because if the locator pin is made of ebony and the back plate is maple, they'll contract and swell at different rates in atmospheric changes and weather temperature changes, and then the wood gives way and it cracks. So I'll just leave the pinhole there, and that way there's nothing, because it's not needed once you take the clamps off. The pin's not needed anymore, so I just pull it out, and one less thing that's going to go wrong with the fiddle 100, 200 years from now. And that's why you use one-piece backs too. I love how they look, but mainly because that's one less joint that's going to fail someday in the fiddle. And the same thing with my the end bouts of my ribs, where it joins. Usually two ribs are joined and glued in the center where the end pin is, but I use one continuous piece of maple strip all the way from one lower corner to the other, so there's no joint here. And there's a lot of times old fiddles have a separation of that joint that needs to be repaired, and so that's one less joint in my fiddles too that someone's going to have to deal with someday. My scroll, I did kind of a different kind of carving to make my scroll. You may notice the turn here is a little larger and wider than a typical Guarneri or Stradivarius scroll. And I did that on purpose. I actually made the whole scroll a little larger because it is a 5-string, and I also made the peg box slightly longer to accommodate that 5th string and that 5th peg. You can see on this side where there's three pegs on one side, 2 pegs on the other side. So this 5th string peg, sometimes if someone makes a 5-string and they use a typical size or length peg box, there's hardly any room up in here for that 5th peg, and not only is it difficult to change strings, but there's more of a risk of developing a crack right here where you kind of run out of real estate. You run out of wood for that 5th peg. So my peg box is a little longer, and it's not much. It's probably an 1/8 inch, but it's enough to give me more wood to work with there. In some violin cases, this fiddle may not fit. It might be too long. I know the Bobolak cases, which is what I like to use, that it fits perfectly, even with some little more space still available at the top of the scroll. But you have to be careful when you have a 5-string and buying a case for it. You have to make sure it fits, because if a 5-string fiddle's made the way I like to make them, with a longer peg box, that 1/8 of an inch may make it where it won't fit in there. And then if you use a viola case, the viola case would be too big. The fiddle would rattle around in it. So anyway, that's just a kind of a thing. And yeah, so my scroll, as you could see, you could probably see if you're used to looking at fiddles and the shapes they have, it's a little larger scroll and a little more curvy, and it just kind of matches that, the fact that it's a 5-string. So enough about all that stuff. I like how she looks too. She's a real pretty wood that I was able to get for it. I'm going to try to play, I think I'm going to try to play a waltz on it. Well, not a waltz, a slower tune Danny Boy in the low register, so you could hear the C string. A 5-string violin, for those of you who don't realize it or know, is both 2 instruments in one. It's a viola and a violin. These last 4 strings of a 5-string fiddle are the same tunings as a viola, and these first 4 strings are the typical tunings of a violin. And so it's a viola and a violin combined, kind of. There's some differences with range and tonal range, but anyway, it's pretty much the same. But the cool thing about a 5-string fiddle is you get those lower notes. That's the low C string. And on a regular violin, a 4-string violin, your lowest note is this. It's G. But on a 5-string fiddle, the lowest note is a C on this string. So both strings open, double stop, almost sounds like a cello. Now I'm going to try to play Danny Boy in this. I've never played it in this key before, so forgive my mistakes. So if you're playing this song on a violin, a 4-string violin, and you want to go as low as you can go in pitch, this is how it would sound. But on the 5-string, you can go. So that's the cool thing about it. Sometimes a lot of 5-string players they hardly ever play that low C string. just for effect once in a while, and some don't hardly ever play them at all. But anyway, it's there for when you need it. Okay, so I think I didn't say the name of this fiddle. Oh, it's Daniella. This is number 290. Daniella, and she's a good one and fun to play as a 5-string. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.